Hello world, I'm Brandon, and this is my review of the Galco KingTuk and KingTuk Air inside the waistband holsters. Here's the Air. Show it to you in more detail later, and I'm wearing a regular Galco KingTuk now. Now I've bought 2 Galco KingTuks for my 1911 R1, 3 for my Glock 21 SF, and 1 Air, again, for my Glock. These have been my everyday carry holster since 2013. I love them. This is me wearing all of my everyday carry gear. You can see the pistol here. I started off wearing my holster in the 3 o'clock position, going for the old Cowboy strong side draw. But gradually the gun and holster wanted to migrate to a little bit before a 4.5 o'clock kind of position, so I just let them. They stay there nicely, and it's what feels best to me and for most people that I've shown how to do this kind of stuff who use similar holsters. I like that position because it keeps the pistol away from anyone reaching for it, unless they're behind you and know exactly where to go. And when blading my body away from a threat, it puts the pistol as far as possible away from the threat to my front, keeping it in a very good place for a retention draw. It's also carried in a position that people seldom glance at on the human anatomy, the kind of side, lower back, right above the buttocks. I also like this position because it keeps the pistol in the cavity of the lower back. I don't want to fall backwards and break my spine, break my ribs. Common thing that can happen with having the pistol too far into the small of the back carry styles. I like walking for the rest of my life. I'll demonstrate a few draws now, and then I'll switch holster systems to be able to be still armed and show you both of the Galco KingTuk holsters. Back in 2013, I bought a KingTuk for my 1911 as my EDC, and it's because I knew, after coming closer than I ever had in my life to truly needing a weapon to fight with, that my Uncle Mike's outside the waistband $20 one with the button strapped, it just wasn't going to cut it for serious self-defense. Since then, I've only used these Galco KingTuk holsters for concealment and wanted for nothing. They've been super comfortable. No itching, no pinching, nothing sticks through on this side to irritate the skin, not these little screws, not the rivets, not even the holes on the Air are feelable by me. I went bearskin with one of these for a few months on my 1911. It makes a little bit more rust to carry inside and with the waistband and with this kind of a holster. It's no big deal though, and my Glock certainly doesn't care about it. I like to wear a thin shirt like this, undershirt, with an inside the waistband holster just to keep sweat and other things from getting from the body to the pistol. And it also makes sure that no tiny little niggling bit of the pistol is going to be able to come up and still get to your skin. Now, I've hiked wearing these holsters, I've danced in these, I've climbed trees in these, practiced unarmed and sword-based martial arts, worked for a living as a white and blue-collar worker, lived general life, crawled prone, somersaulted, cartwheeled, parkoured, done all kinds of ninja shit wearing these. And I've done it with and without this Safe Life Defense 3A Plus body armor that I'm wearing. And I've done yoga wearing these. No problem. Most importantly, I always felt 100% prepared in those moments when I reached for my pistol and it was under body alarm response, surprise reaction, and the moment of truth. It was like the gun appeared in my hand, no thought required. Galco KingTuk has never once let me down. Not in practice, not when it counted. Luckily, drawing was all that was ever necessary in my life. No matter what position I'm in, I feel I can get my pistol out and ready to rock when I want to. In my experience, the Galco KingTuk inside the waistband holster facilitates this. Kneeling, prone, if I'm weird or in some kind of contorted position around cover, I can just get this. Even with my offhand reaching behind myself, I don't have much difficulty getting it. And reholstering is a breeze. Now, I practice my draw multiple times per day, and I use any opportunity that would normally be simply administrative gun handling as a chance to practice, get in a quick readiness test. Thanks to Travis Haley for that particular bit of advice about turning administrative actions into training opportunities to get good repetitions built up over the course of the lifetime. Beyond that, sometimes I just watch TV or people play video games or whatever, and I practice my draw when the bad guys show up, avoid the friendlies when the camera changes, etc., fun little games. My point is I really use my gear, I train with it, I put it through plenty of wear and tear, and I expect it to still be able to go to hell and back with me. Preferably just buy once, cry once, be done with it, and have a trusty war gear companion for life. If it can't do that, I'd rather not buy it, own it, or bring it to the party. Why waste my time? I'm kind of poor, not a collector or a gearhead, and I'd rather spend my money on training and ammo. That's my philosophy of use in Nut and Fancy's terms. Another great channel you should go check out and subscribe to. Now, when I bought my first KingTuk, I was dedicating a significant amount of time to studying martial arts, firearms skills, reading hundreds of manuals by famous shooters and their how-to guides, and looking at what the intertubes had to offer. Big shout out to James Yeager. Thank you. All your videos are what really made the penny drop for me. Put it all together when I needed it the most. Thank you. Now, one of the things he said in one of his videos was that Galco belts and holsters, they just work. He says Galco just works. So when I was doing my research and utterly bewildered, not knowing what IWB and OWB stood for, what a duty holster was, about what belt loops were and different sizes of belt and whatnot, I just decided to do what Yeager said, and I got a Galco SB2 belt and ended up going with a Galco KingTuk that would fit my 1911. Sound, tactical advice. I made that decision over my usual research preponderance and decided, yeah, a slight difference is enough. I'll just trust James and never look back, man. No regrets. I've seen other types of holsters that have shown up. I've tried a couple few that people have given me, and I don't think there's anything better in the inside waistband concealed holster category. Just my opinion. This does bring me, however, to the one problem of the KingTuk. The cracking of its plastic retention piece. Now, I believe that it's from the gun moving, grabbing it by the butt in order to shift the holster to whatever o'clock position one wants inside the belt line. This cracking happens right here. This is constant, has happened on all my holsters. It's why I bought so many that I described at the opening part of this video. This area should really be beefed up, reinforced, or some kind of a major redesign done. They tend to crack pretty quick on me within about a month or two, depending on how heavy of a use I'm giving them. Of course, they're not this bad. This one, I don't even know if you can see it because it's black everywhere, but there's a tiny little crack in there. And this is typically what'll happen after a couple of months of use. It's not so much a natural byproduct of wearing it as from drawing all the time, and sometimes you don't get something perfectly, or sometimes you really need to shift to get the belt and holster and pistol back into proper position, and one can't drop their pants and go rearrange everything. These things have a strong tendency to stick where you put them though. They stick a little bit at first, and then after a couple of hours of wearing them, they smooth right out, and they will continue to smooth to you over the course of a life of wear, and I've never lost their stickiness of holding everything in place. It's just me moving. Stuff tends to not stay perfectly fit, you know? All that being said, these things do keep working well even when broken. I could wear this even with this big crack in here. Almost down there past the second rivet. I notice no effective difference, really. It's a tiny amount easier to draw because there's less play and the holster is quite literally broken in. But effective, still very effective even when broken, and that is a big plus, but it should just not break. Now, I went with Glock Kalashnikov because I like rugged, reliable, durable gear. That is the most important thing to me. If it breaks, it's no good to you in the moment or until you can get a new one. So this lack of durability right here is a major drawback in my eyes. KingTuk is a great holster, but the most crucial component in my eyes isn't there, and that's almost a deal breaker to me. At a price of around $50 a pop, these are not exactly expendable. The screws that hold on the clips, sometimes these will come loose, but just me and my Leatherman and the pressure of my fingers, I can always put them right back. So yeah, I just check them every so often. Generally no big deal. You could Loctite them, but then you wouldn't be able to replace the clips. These sometimes get bent outwards, and so they don't bite a belt quite so well, and you have to bend them back in place, again, probably with pliers or a Leatherman or something. Or you can just order new ones when they wear out. I got a bag of spare screws and washers and clips from Galco, and I've gone through so many of these and harvested the remains that I have a nice pile of spare parts ready to go. But before I was aware of this particular trick, I had a couple of these give way, and then I had no holster until I had my replacement parts. That also being said, one of these screws can come undone on both clips, and you will barely notice, not feel it so much, and it'll be serviceable. I've had in one day, once both of these came undone at the same time, and I was running with one clip, and I still probably could have drawn without much of a hitch. That's very cool. Let's see. The inside of these, very smooth. They tend to come a little bit rougher than this. They smooth out pretty quick though, and once you've worn them as much as my old ones are, they get actually smoother on the inside than these are on the outside. And again, there's nothing here that you'll feel, not these rivets, not tightening these screws too much. They don't come through and poke you, not the holes on the KingTuk Air. These things form to your body pretty quickly. You can see it taking the shape of my hip bone here. And the fit only improves over time. I've seen these get more contorted when I've worn them for multiple years. And the longer you keep them, the better they're gonna mold to you. My pistols never once come out of the holster in all the regular days of wear and all the ninja shit that I've done while wearing these. Despite having no retention beyond the plastic mold and the body pressure against the pistol, just doesn't come out. And none of these crazy oh snap moments when I'm hiking and doing the all natural slip and slide down the side of a mountain or something. Not when I've fallen and somersaulted head over heels a couple times while hiking. stayed right there. I was impressed. Concealment, I don't think it gets much better. The way that this holster works on my anatomy, and no, I wasn't this fit when I first bought these, but it still holds true. The pistol almost magnetizes to the body. Like in video games where they stick a weapon on their back and it just stays there, this holster basically duplicates that kind of effect. It's awesome. With the way that it's angled, with this forward cant that you can see that points the muzzle away from the body, the way that I carry it, which helps in safety, and the way that the holster tends to sit and ride, it's almost as if the pistol, instead of sitting straight up and down, tilts like this sort of. So that will keep the muzzle away from you and the butt of the pistol goes into the body better, which makes for better concealment because that's less printing. Also, with it being so close to the body, you have a really easy time clearing cover garments around it, getting to it with cover garments aren't always cleared properly, making lemonade out of bad circumstances, and it helps with not getting snagged or caught on things as you're going by in your day-to-day life if you just put a t-shirt over it or something. Really cool. This is basically how I've dressed for over 4 years now, at least the way I was in the introduction. With my old garments, the Galco concealed very well. It didn't need 511's magic dust to hide my full-size, large frame 45 caliber auto pistols, but you still can be spotted. Generally, it's been by someone who's in the know, who knows what to look for because they do this stuff. I also admit I kind of put off the vibe of a gun guy. Nothing I can do about it. I gave up trying to be the gray man a long time ago. It's a good path, though, for those of you who can follow it. Work on your counter ambush, guys. Speaking of counter ambushes, big shout out to Active Self-Protection. Go subscribe to that channel, check out John's work. It's the kind of stuff that can save your life. He'll give you the kind of skills to make that gray man stuff really, really work for you. In total, I've spent over $300 on Galco KingTuk holsters. Half of money I spent is now on stuff that's trash or scrap. The other half is damaged, but still in active service. And I really wish, please hear me, Galco, that you could make a product people could just buy and it would be squared away for life. It can't cost much more for extra plastic in this region that keeps breaking. You could also use some kind of ribs or other structural source like from Gothic architecture or medieval armor or something to increase its ability to withstand force. This is the area that generally breaks right here. Right here at this 90, where the 90-degree angle of the plastic meets the rivets. On the front end, always right here, every one of the 6 holsters that I bought, this has happened to. Another possible solution, I would just add more plastic. Because right here there's a vacant space, body's here, pants is here, this little empty spot right here. You can put a bunch more plastic to reinforce this region, and it wouldn't get in the way of anything. And that is what I think would make this a perfect holster, is if this was solved either by the methods I've described or some other ingenious design. The effect is what's important. All that being said, this is still just my opinion and experience with the knowledge and skill that I have. I'm no great warrior, no hero, not even an expert. I'm just some guy. Peace.